Here's your heads up for this podcast, and I have to tell you, what was going to be a 5-minute quickie podcast has turned into something well long, if that was a word. And it's all about getting inspired, noticing how the things around you will affect who you are in the future. So let's make a start right now. I go on and I get deep and I get a little bit emotional about it, I guess. So please enjoy and let me know how you feel. Let me know what you get out of this. Love to hear from you. So I'll meet you on the other side. Personal development. Unplugged. My name's Paul Clough, and I'm part of Unplugged Personal Development. You see, in this genre of personal improvement, self-development, of becoming a better you, things have been made way too complicated. Why? Not to make people like me, like you, feel special, I don't think. Maybe it's to make those who overcomplicate this stuff to feel better than us. And I don't want any part of that. And that's why I've created this podcast, to break down these overcomplicated ways and produce and develop powerful yet simple, Einstein said, in simplicity there's genius, simple ways using hypnosis, NLP, loads of other stuff for one reason. And that one reason is so you can, if you choose to come along for the adventure, become the real you. Sing with your real voice and break through your own personal barriers. And we're not going to be fixing what doesn't work because, it just didn't work. But we're going to find better ways. And we're not going to be using painful ways of the old ways and old stuff. We want to create pleasure, passion, real opportunities, real dreams, learning and developing, the skills that make it happen. And the aim, not to recreate the old you, but for you to be fully the real you. So no more being held back by the secrets and complicated stuff. Let's have some fun. Let's go get unplugged.
Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hello, my darlings, and just a quick word before you all start. I know you're sitting on the mat and you're all comfortable, aren't we, Monty? Yes, but just a quick reminder, if you do enjoy this, and I know you do, wouldn't it be nice to share with somebody? Yes, in fact, you could share it with everybody. And a lovely review on iTunes thingy, says Paul. He says if you do a review on iTunes things, it'll make his day, and I love making his day, and you will too. Okay, so let's get on now.
So this was going to be an FMQ, one of the 5-minute quickie podcasts. But then I got to thinking. You see, this is like we're into the new year a bit. You've probably done some New Year's resolutions, and we've all got dreams. And sometimes when we pin them onto New Year's resolutions, they just don't quite work because we're not approaching them maybe in the right way. But this is something like that and something not. And it's a little bit of a ramble, I guess, but I will really want to encourage you to go for those dreams. And I understand that it's going to take a bit of effort sometimes. It's going to take a bit of effort. But if we do the effort, those dreams will come true. And I know that we've all tried these things before. And this is why I don't like New Year's resolutions. I like to think of every day as a new time for resolution because we're a different person today than we were yesterday. And when we did those other things and we tried our goals and we just didn't maybe get them as good as we want them, it's maybe because we weren't in the right place at the right time. Maybe we didn't have the right teacher that came along at the right time. Maybe your needs weren't getting met. Maybe, all these things just weren't coming together at the right time. But I think there's reasons for that. There's some really good reasons. And it can be a scary place to be. I know I get scared when I think of the things that I need and want to work with myself. And I also get scared about the stuff that may be around or come up in the process of working on myself with that personal development. I go away on my retreats, my own personal retreats, to do self-work. And sometimes it can be a scary place. But the thing is, you can do it. Because we look at these wonderful examples in our lives of people doing great things, and we think, we're seeing them at their greatest, and we're viewing them from maybe a position of where we're not in our greatest. So we're not really comparing eggs for eggs, but then we put them on a pedestal, like a guru, and we need people to be inspirational and work towards, to be like them maybe. But I think we have to remember, they are only ordinary people. They're no different to us. But they're ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And we can access what they access. All we have to do is find out what they're doing. And you see, when we do that, we can get there. And we don't have to look for it's the too good to be true. I go on about secrets. There's people who have the secrets they didn't want you to know. Here's the thing the one word that will change everything. See them on YouTube, use this one sentence and you'll get everything. That's a load of old BS. There's some stuff in there, but they're not secret. Well, there's no magic, but this work can be really magical. And magic then does happen when you put your effort in. I always tell my clients, all you have to do is, you don't have to believe what I'm gonna do, what I say, but just come with me and have this I'm prepared to do whatever it takes mentality. That's the only will you have to do. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. And when you do that, that's when the magic does happen. And that's when synchronicity happens. You get lucky, coincidence happen. You start feeling, you start doing, you start acting as if. And things just get magical. And I know sometimes we have our own, our own enemies maybe. It's the hero's journey maybe. We have our enemies, we have our obstacles, we have things like, people say, well, I don't have enemies or things like that. But sometimes they could be these negative emotions, these limiting beliefs that we have. And all we need to have is a safe place to be and work. And whilst, could work with you one-to-one, yeah, that opportunity is always there. There's Skype and things like that, and even come to Bournemouth. But, this is a safe place to be because we're guiding each other. We're here for each other. And you see, some people love those, and I don't know what they're called. They're those inspirational quotes that you see on Facebook and Instagram. And they throw them around, as if that's the thing that's going to happen. That's the thing, we need to motivate ourselves. But, I think they become invisible after a while because I hate them with a vengeance. Because do they work? I have to ask myself, do they really work? I see so many of them. Some of them are absolutely brilliant in their concept if we just took that one and worked with it. You have to get the one that makes you think. But when they're thrown out so often at us, we get a little bit, overwhelmed by everything. And it's too much noise. Too much noise. And then, this is the thing what gets me every time. I see one thing, or I hear a sentence that somebody says, and it's like, boom, boom. My head starts spinning, and I start thinking, that was a throwaway line from somebody. But it's got so much intensity for me. And this is what happened to me the other day. Listening to something going on, and I heard this guy saying, blah, 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 blah. You see, and he said, you will only be what you see. And he carried on talking. And initially, to me, that didn't mean much. But then it tended to seep inside. So maybe it was like the right teacher coming at the right time for me. Because it made me think, well, what am I seeing now? Who am I? Who am I now? And what has created who I am? Or who I am right now? My the experiences of my past. I know cause and effect and all that thing and going to root causes. But sometimes that simple sentence of saying, you will only be what you see. Because there's talk about like your five best friends or whoever, they will affect you and things like that. And that's part of this. But first of all, it made me look into my past. See, what did I see back then that created what I'm doing right now? Because I know I have, like you, negative emotions. We're not immune to them. Doesn't matter how much you know about this, the more you know them, the more you see sometimes. There's more to work on, which is a bit of a bummer, really. I always thought when I became a practitioner of NLP, things would get easier. But the problems just got more interesting, as it were. Then a master practitioner of NLP and hypnosis. There, my job's done. But yet, problems get even more and more interesting. And now I do trainings and things like that. I just get nicer problems. But they're also very intense. So I tend to look at myself. And the thing that sprang into my mind when I started to say this, what did I see back then that may have created the way I am now? Which was really weird. Because I remember, what came to mind was when I was in business. And I was, round about the 22, 23-year-old in business. And I was really cranking it, I think that's a term. I was cranking it up because I really wanted to be good. I had my goals. This is where I wanted to go. And in my past then, I knew and believed the only way to get on was to be totally ruthless. Totally ruthless. Only me existed. Okay, the company I worked for, I was going to make sure that they got more value from me than whatever they paid me. So that's a good base, isn't it? That's a bit like that selfless service, but in a different way, because I went about it it wasn't a win-win, it was win and you're going to really lose basis, isn't it? I don't know. And at the time, it seemed perfect because, and when I think about it now, what did I see in that business? Everyone else being as ruthless as I was, if I didn't get better at being even more ruthless. Everybody was cheating, lying, telling things which were totally wrong just to win. And I thought to myself, wow, that's so horrible. Am I really like that now? And to be honest, I really don't think I'm like that now. I know I'm not ruthless. I'm not ruthless like that. And I do like the thing about giving more, 10 times, 100 times more than anybody's ever asked you for, you've contracted to do. And I think I wanted to notice, where was my change? Because, why wasn't I still like that? What had I seen? And I started to work it out. You see, I think it all started changing when I started to learn NLP. And here's the thing, and I will talk about this another time. What was the reason I wanted to learn NLP? And for those of you who don't know, you can Google it, but it's neuro-linguistic programming. It's a way of controlling your mind and actually finding ways and processes to change your mind and other people's. And it's great in the therapeutic world to guide people to find their changes. But I'd heard about this as being totally like a mind Jedi thing, that I would have control over people's minds and therefore I could be even more ruthless because I would have the upper hand. I would really have these people in my palm of my hand and I could do what I wanted for my purposes. So was my basis of learning NLP. And then when they said hypnosis, I went, whoa, this is the thing. Now I'm going to have even more language to use. I'm going to hypnotize people to do the things I want them to do. For me, for my good, no one else's. And then I started to learn it. And the thing is, it seemed to me I was the only person who had that aim in mind. Because I suddenly started to meet people, wonderful, loving people who were succeeding. In fact, they were succeeding better than I was. And they weren't doing anything like I was doing. they were actually giving that selfless service. They were learning to help people. They were learning to be around for people, just being a better them. And I took that on board. Not straight away, but it was like a morphing, a learning. And as I let go of one skin, as it were, and that felt good, by the way, and I started to really embody this thing of how can I help you? What's going on in your world? I really want you to be your best, and I want to be with you when you're being your best. Meant my business got better. I can't believe it really got better. And it improved month on month, year on year. We were really successful. And I was really successful. And guess what? I was enjoying myself in such a better way because it felt whole. It felt aligned. All the things I talk about. And I thought, hey, so those people, the very early people who were ruthless and horrible, they affected me because I was becoming what I was seeing. And then when I changed my environment or my learnings, I saw other people and I began to change that way. And because I was really and honestly aligned with that, I suddenly became a people person. I used to hate that term, being a people person. I love it. Being with people, supporting people, being around them, being the change you want to see in others and getting them to be the change they want to see in themselves. And then I thought to myself, I wonder who was watching me. Not in the ruthless days, but when I was changing for the better and being better, a better me. And I thought to myself, I've got 3 sons. 2 of them do this work anyway. And they didn't before. And they are caring people. My 3rd son works as a problem solver, but he works with people. He loves to help people. He likes to mentor people. He's not ruthless. He works in a ruthless industry, but he's not ruthless. He just encapsulates everything I do. He's a thinker. He looks for the best. So somehow my 3 sons, I'm not taking the credit for this, but it must, I think, have been a seed towards their growth. Obviously, they have to take responsibility to see it and use it. But I can see wonders in them. Wonders in them. And that makes me feel really good. And I start to think of my grandchildren. They're seeing their dads, my sons, being that type of person from such a young age. And I'm now inspired by them. How, and especially you will only be what you see. So when I see them, I want to be the person that they see. And it's not just see with your eyes, your vision. It's when you really truly see inside somebody to know what they're like. Now, this has gone round the houses a bit. And I thought to myself, well, this is very nice, Paul. But I want you to be aware. Be aware, if you took that sentence on board, what could you do with it? I know I'm going to work a lot deeper with it. I'm going to spend my time, and I'm going to talk about like New Year's resolutions in another podcast when yours is finished, how we can really start to work every day again and using things like this. But I wanted to think, well, how can you be aware and be flexible in this place and have it as a safe place to be? So I wanted to give you like a way of doing this. The how. It's not the only how, it's one of my hows. And I think I like to start with not the issue but the solution. Because I just want a direction where we're going to go, an outcome in mind. And to do that, guess what? We're going to have to get old Jenny Journal. Now I hope that you've either got one for Christmas, or you've gone out and bought one with your Christmas money, or you just went, I'm going to get a Jenny Journal, or you've even had one for a long time. But I want you to get Jenny out. open to a clean page and just take a bit of time and just think, how do I want to be seen? What would the real me look like to other people when I didn't have any issues? So I can't think of any problems. Yeah, I will, but I won't. How would I like to be seen? And who would I like to see me, the real me? And just notice what comes to mind. And let your pen write. But remember this, before we always start this, we're going to set our intention. We're going to set our intention, and our intention is, I want to find out about the real me, the one that is the one to see. What state, what emotional state do I need to be? Or what do I need to be in and have to allow this to happen? So maybe it's curiosity, maybe there's a confidence, maybe there's a quiet, a calmness, maybe there's that feeling of just being at one with yourself. I don't know what it is for you. Each time it'll be different. So set your intention. Find that emotion. If you have to think about it, go back to a time when you had that emotion. Go back into the you in that memory, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and just feel the feeling. And as you feel that feeling, open up Jenny Journal and start writing. Actually, just write. How do I want to be seen? The real me. Who do I want to see me? Get the questions out there. And just let your pen write, because by now your pen will start writing. And no criticism, just everything comes out on that page. Everything. We can go and edit later. Because if we start thinking about editing, we're not allowing the process to happen. And this is you allowing you to evolve, to be seen by you. And then, ask the question, what's the one thing that could begin this journey and have the most dynamic return on that energy, that return? Let's put it in business terms, return on investment. What's the smallest thing I can do that gets the biggest return? Because doing the smallest thing gives you that impetus. Once you get that return, you do the next thing. It's the old baby steps. Now, what I would say is one of the things, the most smallest thing you can do right now would be set up some rituals. Get your altar ready. No, don't get your altar ready in the knife. We don't go there. That's another podcast. Rituals. We'll go into rituals in another podcast. But just think, rituals are setting down time in your diary, maybe. Putting things on a phone. So if you want to have 5 minutes for breathing, 5 minutes for thinking, 10 minutes for stretching, anything at all, going back to Jenny Journal, hypnosis, walking, seeing the world, all these little things, put them in your phone. 10 o'clock, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, get a breath of fresh air and see what's going on. Look up and breathe. There's what I'm calling rituals at the moment. I'm going to say I will go into that a lot more deeper because we're going on for time now. But just notice what you can do, the small things you can do first, not the big things. They'll happen of their own accord. We need to set up these baby steps of rituals. And also, just think, maybe my emotions. What are the emotions that I have? The good ones. What do I enjoy? What states of mind are really good, that are productive, that they encourage other people, that I'm a good person to be around with? Because I think we ought to always take time to look at the things that we're good at, because we don't do that often enough. And then, what are the few negative emotions that do come up and bite us on the bum? Because we're going to have to work on them in the future. And it's good just to let we're in this state of mind, just let the pen write again. What are the few negative items, negative emotions, maybe unsupportive belief or beliefs that we have that really aren't supporting us? And as you do that, just go back over the good ones again, because I always like to finish on the good. So you've done your negative. Now go back to the the good beliefs, maybe the supportive beliefs. And notice, these are, the negatives are not your failures. Again, you may have been in the wrong place at the time. You know, or certainly I believe, that every belief or behaviour or emotion you have has a positive intent. It did at the time when you took it on. It was just your knowledge and the wisdom at the time that allowed you to only do that. And now you're a different person. And we're going to work on that. So maybe just ask yourself, I wonder what the positive learnings around these negative emotions and beliefs are. Just to write them down for a moment, just to find out. And then, when you've done all of this, let's just say a little question, write it out. So how can I use this? What can I find? What positive learnings can I use right now? We're going to go into all this a lot more deeper, but I just want you to get a few thoughts going around. And then notice, maybe just a couple of goals, outcomes that you want to have. Now, some people think of goals of being like a means thing. I want more money, or maybe they're ends, I don't know. But they want things. Now, other things you can have is, I just want to feel happier more often. Or I want to learn more. I want to be more curious. I want to be able to connect more. So these are different types of goals in a way that they're not quite as specific as I'd like them, but they're a direction. And notice you can start looking for those type of people around you who are achieving those goals, who are experiencing those experiences that you want to experience. Because they're all around. There's so many different places where you can find them. There's podcasts, there's books, autobiographies, there's YouTube. There's so many different things that we can just start to enrich our world. Because just become inspired by inspirational people, and inspirational things. Because when you do that, you can then start to eliminate the negative noises in the world. You know, the negative news reports on the telly, the newspapers, or people who come up with negative vibrations, because you're forming and aligning yourself to inspirational things. That's where your focus of attention will go. And then maybe just look to see, where are the beautiful things in this world? You know, you live in a town. I know if you look up at some of the architecture, there's wonderful things to be seen. And I know in every city or town, there's greenery somewhere. You can find something to just be around the beautiful things. And if you live in the countryside, man, you've got it already. But maybe you want to come into town and have a look around. And people in the cities go to the country and just be inspired by beautiful things, the energy that's around. I want to stop now because I've gone on and I'm not quite sure where I've left you. But I just want you to start to know that there are... This all started from one line, remember. You will be what you see. And I'm getting you to start to see wonderful things for you to become the wonder that is you. And we're going to do loads of work in the coming podcasts of, you know, how to look at those emotions, how to look at those beliefs, how to ask more questions that give you more return on your energy. You know, how to inspire people, not just be inspired. How to get your goals, how to get your outcomes. You can do all of that. And I'll share even more of my work with you, because I'm going to do this with you. Because it's, you know, this started as a throwaway line. And I thought to myself, I'll talk to you personally about this for 5 minutes. And it's gone way over the length of my normal podcast now. That's how deep it's got me, this one line. And you can do the same. Man, you can do all of this. Let me know, you know, the things that are inspirational to you. I'd love to hear them, because it's that sharing community again. We're here, you're here with me, and we're sharing. So let's share ideas, because when you share an idea, you keep it. You don't lose it. You enrich the world by giving it to others. And in that way, you're going to get your dreams. And I encourage you, that's where we want to go. Getting our dreams to come true and getting them bigger and better than you ever thought and quicker than you ever thought possible. Wow. What a lot for a brand new year. I really do hope you've enjoyed all of this as much as I've got deep into it. And there's deeper stuff to go. So allow every heartbeat to just bring you joy and happiness. Have more joy and happiness than you can stand. Yeah, all that stuff. Leave the world in a better place and the people that you meet better than you first found them. All that stuff. And as usual, live with passion. Yeah. Enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand. And remember that free hypnosis I do? paulcloughonline.com/podcast. They're all there for you. Have more fun. Go. Let's have fun this year. Bye now. I know you're just about to go, but here's just a quick, like a heads down, heads up thingy. Few things. One is, if you love your hypnosis tracks, go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Get free access to loads of hypnosis tracks. Well, not all, but as many as the hypnosis tracks you get on these podcasts, and every new one will be there too. And that's all you've got to do. So it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Also, while you're there, you might just want to have a little look round to look at the programs I've got. I've got one which is called Supreme Inner Confidence. I think it's a brilliant program, if I say so myself. Really to get your self-esteem high, get aligned, get all that inner confidence so you can have the life you want. There's also a lovely program that goes on for quite a bit, but it's also the first 5 days are absolutely free, so you really get to know what it is and make sure it's just for you. And that's all about freeing your life of anxiety. There's a few hypnosis tracks you can actually buy there as well. The Creating Your Inner Mind Palace and Complete Relaxation. Have a look, costs nothing to have a look. And there's even money back guarantees. So just do that. But free hypnosis tracks, they're all there for you. And lastly, please share this with everyone you know, subscribe, do everything you can if you would. It's a great compliment to you if you would, just to share this with people so we can all be part of this family of change and create the ripples of change that go so far and wide. Okay, that was it. Have more fun than you can stand. Bye-bye now. Personal development, unplugged.